on Facebook as we speak, as we bring you some of the hot, juicy stories this morning on the front pages, in the middle, and at the back end of our newspapers. My guest analyst on the program, Franco Gaga, of course, the usual man on Thursdays, is right here by my side as we look at some of these hot newspaper stories. Yesterday, I had Kunle Ajayi, who we call Wise Man, join me to talk about it. And on Thursday, you know, Kunle Wise Man is usually here on Wednesdays and Fridays, hopefully maybe Mondays sometimes, but Franco Gaga has made it a point of duty to always join us right here on Daily Dose on Thursday. So let's get right to it. But before then, let me say good morning to my guest analyst. Good morning, Franco Gaga.
Good morning.
How is it going?
Fine, thank you.
I hope you enjoy Nigeria, you're enjoying Oyo State and all the stories in between.
Yes, we are, but at times, we feel a sense of discomfort.
A sense of discomfort.
Discomfort,
How
yes.
do you mean? How do you mean?
The news are not palatable at all.
It's going to get
most
better.
items.
It's going to get better.
I hope so.
And for one of those, if you talk about getting better, one news story I would like to mention here strikes me. But of course, let me just throw that quickly from the cable.ng. He says, the president here is saying to Nigerians, don't worry about inflation. We will bring it down. That is very important to many Nigerians, especially for breadwinners of different families. How do I get the naira working again? A lot of us are making projections that possibly before let's say August or September, the naira should be 700 or 600 naira to a dollar. In some places it's 1,002. There are speculations that it could reach 1,100 before the end of the week. So we really need to get the inflation figures down. That is the main concern of many Nigerians. Okay, then let's start with some of the stories here. Let's begin with the Punch newspaper, where we have a couple of stories. Electricity manufacturers labor tackle federal government over 240% tariff hike, insist on subsidy. And talking about the student loan, federal government plans pilot scheme for public institutions. You find a story inside the Punch newspaper. On the home front here, UCH threatens doctors over planned boycott, over planned night duty boycott. And to happenings, talking business, foreign and sports. Inside the Guardian, you find a lot of those. Starting with the foreigners in here, South Africa promises tough battle against Falcons. Of course, that's talking sports and business here. 2 million households to pay 225 naira per kilowatt as prepaid meter may hit 300,000 naira. The foreign scene still inside the Guardian newspaper. Taiwan rescuers try to reach scores trapped in tunnels after quake. There was a major earthquake yesterday in the Hualien County of Taiwan yesterday. An entertainment story here. This one, Nathaniel Bassey files petition against 4 social media users over paternity rumors. Of course, you know that your favorite singer, gospel singer, Nathaniel Bassey, has been trending for the last couple of hours, maybe about 24 hours now, regarding the child he has with Mercy Chinwo. Some are saying he's the father of the child. Some are saying, hey, that cannot be true. But of course, I'll read a story to you this morning. Don't forget, make sure you are not caught in the web of fake news. If you do not have any evidence but concerning certain stories, make sure you run from those. Inside the Tribune, Ondo 2024, APC NWC settles for direct primary. You get to find out again. All right, then let's begin with the cable newspaper story, newspaper highlight here. This one, Tinubu to Nigerians, don't worry about inflation, we'll bring it down. President Bola Tinubu says even though he does not have a magic wand, his administration will fix the economic challenges confronting the citizenry. Tinubu said this when he hosted the leadership of the APC Presidential Campaign Council to 2024 Ramadan Iftar at the State House on Wednesday. The country's inflation rate has been on a steady rise since the Tinubu administration ended the petrol subsidy regime and unified the exchange rate in 2023. In its latest report, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) said inflation rose to 31.7% in February 2024, up from 29.9% in the previous month. So let me get the thoughts of Franco Gaga on this. He's saying that, hey, I'm not a magician as we speak, but you can be rest assured that I'll do all I can with my cabinet members, with my henchmen, to bring down those figures. Are you in agreement? Do you see him doing this anytime soon?
There's a possibility. There is a very big possibility that he could do that, and that is going to be based on the kind of people he actually has around him. You know, he's
currently working with.
Yes, working with his economic team. You know, they can achieve that. But from what we have been saying all this while, the bottom line of all this is just the removal of that subsidy. That is what.
But isn't that part of the re-engineering process that the president is up about?
When you remove subsidy, it cannot be a re-engineering process. It cannot be a re-engineering process in the sense that the people begin to pay more. And when the people pay more, you know, you have economic anomalies like this, like inflation. You know, you have.
I'm surprised that you're still talking about subsidy. Nigeria seems to have moved on from that. I mean, we are into another phase.
Because we forget.
It's not something we are likely to revert to at the end of the day.
Because we are very quick to forget. It is because most Nigerians are very quick to forget.
What have they forgotten, Mr. Frank?
They've forgotten that the spontaneous announcement of the removal of subsidy without any cushioning effect prepared before then is what we are actually facing now.
Lack of palliatives.
There is not even the concrete palliative itself. We are talking about technical palliatives. Technical palliatives.
Policies that will have overriding effects on the domestic economy of citizens.
I feel at this point the president should maybe through his advisors or his spokesperson own up. You know
that he made a mistake with that decision.
Yes, that was a big error that they consider as tactical in terms of the economy. And look at the effect now.
Okay, if you did not hear that clearly, Mr. Franco Gaga is saying that the president made a big mistake removing subsidy. And if he has done that, he should at least have made sure that there were economic policies, there were technical economic policies that would have made, you know, that decision not to hash on the domestic economy of Nigerians. I think you hear him. Don't forget, you can call in as we continue to trail some of the stories on 070 47,000 815. That's 07047 815 if you're interested in sharing or commenting on some of the stories that we are trailing on Daily Dose this morning. So let's move on to this one inside the Punch newspaper. Student loan. Federal government plans pilot scheme for public institutions. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund on Wednesday said it would begin a pilot phase of the student loan scheme with applicants from public tertiary institutions. This includes students of federal and state universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. It also expects President Bola Tinubu to soon appoint a chairperson, a managing director, and 2 executive directors as part of its executive management team. Spokesperson for the fund, Mr. Nasiru Ayitogo, affirmed this to correspondents yesterday, citing provisions of the Student Loans Act, which Tinubu signed into law on the same day. Is this in the right direction, having a student loan, especially one that will be piloted for those in public universities or, let's say, public institutions?
It's a very good thing that some students should be beneficiary of loan because of the class that they belong, in terms of citizenship. But when we look at that, let's critically look at that loan. People initially, I want to charge the Nigerian student now at this point, especially the National Association of Nigerian Student Executive. They should go and study the details, of that, and the conditionalities that are attached to that loan.
They should not just scratch the surface.
No.
Find time to read
through
the conditions.
To read through. We may not be able to say some of them here, because we have not been able to read, through. But I know something, that before now, this issue of loan was also parroted, and some students, except a section of the National Association of Nigerian Student Executive, went on street, and there was a reformulation of the whole process. It shows that the ESCOs of the National Association of Nigerian Students and the ESCOs of the Nigerian Youth Council can also push this government to work and disburse grants to Nigerian students.
Anyways, the government has made it clear that if you apply, although there is no set date when this will come on stream, but if you apply and you meet the conditions, you will be given this loan. It can be to the tune of as much as 500,000 naira. Getting these loans.
As much as 500,000 naira?
Yes.
Well, what I saw clearly, from all this initially, before we started talking on the feasibility of the whole issue, is the harsh condition. And we know something, that when you fail to fight, sometimes a lot of things are thrown, at you. The government has considered to those who fought for the readjustment of the whole process. But I want to say at this point, in the face of this harsh economic, policies that are surrounding the loan, people cannot feed well, people cannot send their children to good schools, and you are giving loan. If this persists, how will the students after graduation be able to
Are
pay
you
that?
not mortgaging their future? That's what you're saying.
They will pay till they die, from what I got initially.
Anyways, I think
and I know this government is not generous.
I think the bottom line for you is, for those who might, want to apply, regardless of whatever you're saying now, Mr.
Careful.
Frank, is
They should.
make sure you double check on the proviso.
Yes, before you do, you don't just jump at it.
Very well then. Let's take this one inside the Guardian newspaper. Don't forget, if you want to join in on Daily Dose this morning, please feel free to call the number 07047 0000815, or in other words 070477815. You can call in to, or drop your comment right there on Facebook, Adamimogo 105.1. Let's take this one here inside the Guardian newspaper. 2 million households to pay 225 naira per kilowatt, as prepaid meter may hit 300,000 naira. About 2 million households, representing 15% of the 13 million electricity customers in Nigeria, are said to bear the burden of an inefficient power sector, as the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, yesterday increased the electricity tariff of a newly computed Band A customers from an average of 70 naira to 225 naira for every kilowatt per hour that is used, coming as one of the highest single tariff increases in the history of electricity rate adjustment in the country. NERC, through an April 2024 supplementary order, based its decision on rising gas prices, inflation, and foreign exchange rates. Mr. Franco Gaga, we're having a 240% increase in electricity tariff, 70 naira per kilowatt of electricity used to 225 naira, and it means that that's a huge one, quite a burden on those using electricity in this country. Would you classify what the experience is for Nigerians as an inefficient electricity or an inefficient power sector in this country?
I think there are categories. There's a category of people who
The band A. This one is for the
yes,
band
the
A.
band A. But looking at it, that's a slippery slope. Of course, of course, it's a slippery slope because the band B, the band C, the band D will also be affected. And last week we were speaking to the public here last week that what are the pragmatic approaches,
The pragmatic steps.
that the government have to solve this issue of power once and for all. Of course, I say once and for all because haven't they promised before they came to power that they are going to solve this one of the issues that are going
Will you pile this trouble, this misnomer on the Minister of Power, Adelabu, or on our past experiences as a country?
It's not about our past experiences as a country. Of course, we have been paying for darkness all this while. Are you not paying for darkness? It's not funny. We have been paying for darkness all this while. Now somebody came that he will do this to ensure that there is constant generation of power. And today, just yesterday, I think they've started paying. The payment, I think it's from 3rd of April now. You know, for the band A to begin to pay that increase, and nobody, is talking. People pretended as if, especially the labor organization, they pretended as if nothing is going on. And
are you suggesting that Nigerians should not allow this to slide?
They should not allow it. See, there is subsidy removal on fuel. There is subsidy removal on electricity.
There's too much pressure everywhere.
And someday there's going to be subsidy removal on water. And someday there's going to also be subsidy removal on air.
In other words, how long will Nigerians keep bearing all of this?
You see, this government, I really appreciate the president because while I was a student, I really like his personality. But
that's the Bola Ahmed Tinubu personality.
Deep down us, we that are ideological, we knew that this one is just another.
But come to think of it, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Isn't that something you should also consider? I mean, he's a president today, and a whole lot is on his plate.
Let me tell you this: light, transportation, that is fuel,
basic infrastructure.
That is the foundation of any economy that is going to thrive. And if you tell me that the body language of, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown, is the president not aware that
before he chose to run?
He chose to run it. This government is just gathering money for some certain set of persons. Let's call a spade a spade.
Gathering money for a certain set of persons.
Yes.
Do you have evidence backing that?
Well,
Mr. Franco Gaga?
Because look at all the
subsidies. You are just making inferences.
No. Look at all the subsidy remover. Where have they been committed, to? Tell me one.
It's all right then. I'll leave, our listeners to look at your overtone on that analysis. Let's continue.
Show us one. Just one.
Continue with this one inside the Punch newspaper. UCH threatens doctors over planned night duty boycott. The management of the University College Hospital Ibadan, Oyo State, on Wednesday warned its workers, including doctors, against shunning night duties, stressing that whoever fails to report at his or her duty post does that at his or her own risk. The hospital workers, under the auspices of Joint Action Committee on Tuesday, told the Punch that they were suspending night duties after the IBADAN Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, cut the power supply to the hospital over alleged 495 million naira unpaid electricity bills. The JAC chairman, Oladayo Olabanpe, said the workers had decided to scale down their activities until power is restored, saying they would now work between only 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. You find that story inside the Punch newspaper in case you are interested in the details. Scaling down at their own risk. That's what the management of the UCH is telling doctors. Are they right to scale down, considering the fact that there is no power in the hospital? There is no, the basic thing to work with is not available.
If the doctors are correct in their approach, you see, because when you don't have power, what are you going to work with? Some people argue this morning that it is because the doctors, they have their various offices, they have their various hospitals, that's why they are throwing that part. if I were to be a doctor in UCH, I will not allow that. Because when there is darkness, a lot of criminality could thrive. There is...
If you were a doctor or if you were part of the management...
If I were part of the management...
You will not allow it to happen.
I mean, if I was part of the management, I will not allow it to happen. If I am a
your
doctor...
Your lone voice among thousands others, or hundreds others, or dozens others. Your lone voice, what difference would it make?
My brother, it is better to speak alone, to speak the truth alone, and die on it, than when you now have a collective.
For those who have spoken the truth in the past alone and they died, what's been their gain today?
Well, that is the cost, that is the price you pay. We just celebrated Easter. How many people follow Jesus Christ to the cross?
Mr. Frank Ogaga.
How many people follow Jesus Christ to the cross? And today, are we not celebrating him as a truthful person? I think you see it. So if you want to fight on a cleaner slate. With your
what would be your word of caution to the management of UCH that saying that doctors, you can't afford to leave your duty post? If you do that, you are doing that on your own.
That's a very bad one from the management. I will not do that.
What will be your word of caution to them then?
Well, they should work within the hours that there is electricity.
Who would defray whatever they are owing today? 495 million owed to the IBDC. Who would defray that? The government or the UCH itself? I mean, they have to pay. I mean, that's what they owe in terms of electricity bill.
I think they should devise a means.
An alternative.
They should devise a means. They should devise a means to negotiate with those persons. I think you see it. Maybe pay some.
Instrumentally?
Yes. And another thing is that UCH is owned by the University of Ibadan. Is there no scientific department in the University of Ibadan? Are they not graduating PhD holders? Are they not graduating master's holders? Are people not writing project and thesis? I think the project and thesis, if I were to be the chairperson of the Nigerian University Commission, for all students, that are science, that are taking science courses, the major problem of the country is power supply,
which is never available.
Which is not available. But when you push projects, when you put thesis to supervisors in ivory towers, they will tell you don't do this, don't do that. Whereas we have some genuine students who really have positions on how to solve.
It looks like our power problems is such an Herculean task,
UCH,
and it will take.
It's a shame.
It will take more than an arm and a leg.
It's a shame that a university teaching hospital
is experiencing all of this.
Experiencing all this.
Very well then. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank Ogaga, for sharing your thoughts with us on Daily Dose this morning. Of course, I'm sure that Big Josh will be back for the Friday edition with his guest analyst tomorrow. And I'll continue this, God willing, on Monday with my guest analyst. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank Ogaga, for your time on the program.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, let's do this tomorrow, same time, same station. Thank you so much for staying with us right here on this dial. The voice of the light at Adamimogo, 105.1 FM, Ibadan. I remain Fortune or Moshola the General. Have yourself a wonderful Thursday.
All the big headlines, from policy to politics, state stories, security, trending issues, and sports. Daily Dose. Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Stay with us.
Guys, I know Kujama, Sunana Binga Adeika, Sirikin Diani. If you don't speak Hausa in the wo Afambu, Binga Adeika 1. If you don't speak Igbo or Bokia, Elimei Binga Adeika. If you don't understand any of those languages, it doesn't matter. My name is Binga Adeika, the first, they call me the GCON, the Grand Comedian of Nigeria, and you're listening to Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Don't change that dial.
èjì wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ tó ń tòjò warawara ọ̀kẹ́dẹ́ ọlọ́jà láwùjọ gbogbo ẹyẹ àwòkọ́làgbà nínú ẹyẹ agbẹ́dẹ́gbẹ́yọ̀ ó pèlè mọ́ kọ́ńbọ́ọ̀kì ètò lọ́jọ́bọ̀ Thursday aago 5 ìrọ̀lẹ́ sí 6 ni o ní ìkànnì yìí Adamimogo 105.1 FM nìbàdàn ó pèlè mọ́ ẹ pàdé atọ́kùn ètò náà àgbà ló tọrọ lọ ọba ló tẹyìn erin fan ó pèlè mọ́ Kọ́ládé Àlàbí ni olóòtú ẹ̀.
àgbọn mi ní wọlé ẹja kàkàkí apàjùbà ní balẹ̀ àparò jẹ́ kàkàkí ojú tó lè ojú tó kò kàkàkí kákárí bọ́nú kò tán nǹkan tó ń ṣe ni kákẹ́gbàjarè fáyé lòun tó tọ́ kàkàkí kàkàkí dé ètò tí ó mọ fọ̀rọ̀ rere fún gbogbo ayé ṣàtòlú kìlọ̀ ìwà fún gbogbo mùtúmùwà kàkàkí lẹ́tọ̀ pẹ̀lú ọmọ ìyá ṣínà ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Monday sọ́jọ́ ẹtì Friday láago kan kọjá ìṣẹ́jú 15 sí 2 ọ̀sán lórí ìkànnì Adamimogo 105.1 FM nìbàdàn kàkàkí dé ohùn aráàlú.
Welcome to Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Voice of the Light.
雷斗小心球啦！我呢個人呢度嘛，斗閃似小火啦！我呢個嚟lẹ́gbẹ́sẹ̀，先有力斗下呢種冇啦！我呢òkè téńté sọ́bàndí ọ̀rẹ́ méjì ní Mọ́kọ́lá ni wọ́n wà ń lù Ìbàdàn. a lòó la èyí tó ń mọ̀ sí ní tòun là á là ó sì ń bọ̀ la. ẹ tẹ́tí lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ èrí tó ń mọ̀ sí ya ṣe é tó ma. wọ́n ní ètò ológo ń bẹ́ńlẹ̀ fẹ́yìn ológo l'Adamimogo. 105.1 FM lẹ́ ń gbọ́ ẹ má gbé kúrò níbẹ̀ o ẹ jẹ́ kó máa lọ kó máa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ bá mi yí sókè kájọ máa gbọ́ Adamimogo Adamimogo FM ìkànnì tó tàwọn yọ ó yẹ Adamimogo ó nananana ìkànnì tó tàwọn yọ mọ́mí àdàdì ẹ máa gbọ́ Adamimogo brothers and sisters ẹ máa gbọ́ ìkànnì tó tàwọn yọ ìgboro ìlú Ìbàdàn làwọn Adamimogo Mọ́kọ́lá láti gbé ìkànnì tó tàwọn yọ ẹ má gbé kúrò níbẹ̀ Adamimogo ẹ fi sílẹ̀ síbẹ̀ ìkànnì tó tàwọn yọ Délé Dára máa ló ń pè dé Adamimogo 105.1 FM ìkànnì tó tàwọn yọ Adamimogo Adamimogo.
That it upset me.
yìnyín kẹ́ni ṣe mí ìdí rèé tí iléeṣẹ́ rédíò Adamimogo 105.1 FM Ìbàdàn lórúkọ ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ àti olùdarí ṣe ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn ìlú lápapọ̀ gbogbo olólùfẹ́ àti olùgbọ́ ìkànnì rédíò wa tí ẹ wá yẹ wá sí fún ti wá sí ìta gbangba àkọ́kọ́ ọ̀rú ẹ̀ tí iléeṣẹ́ rédíò Adamimogo 105.1 FM Ìbàdàn pàápàá jùlọ gbogbo àwọn tá a fi wé pè bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí bàbá wa oníwàásí Fadilat Sheikh Usman Sanusewu Alhaji Abdulwasiu Barrister Abiodun Amale Alhaji Agbola Akínsínà Network Alhaji Alhaji Abdulfatai Abdulkarim Imam Samanda Imam Idris Oloso Afana Jimde Usa Seidat Abdulkarim Soma Ventures Alagaire Alhaji Akajibayowa CEO Akman Travel and Properties Management Alhaji Asiziko Ogbogun Alhaji Tirimisi Oladeji Chairman Nasfat Wuro Alhaji Afe Alhaji Gidado Alhaji Tafik Akinwale Misolado Suolaide CEO Crossway Engineering Limited àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin ẹ̀yà pàtàkì tá a lè dárúkọ àmọ̀rírì yín o àjọṣe wa ò ní bàjẹ́ lórúkọ ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣà tó darí ìkànnì rédíò Adamimogo 105.1 FM Ìbàdàn tòun ti bàbá wa Prophet Sam Olúalọ́ la wípé ẹ ṣeun o àdúpẹ́.
àti gbogbo ẹni tó bá bá wa jòlù kì í sá.
Adamimogo 105.1 FM, the voice of the Light.
And it's Adepoju who makes it 1-1.
My name is Mutiu Adepoju, the headmaster. Listen to Sport O'Clock at Adamimogo 105.1 FM, Ibadan.
Winning is the excitement of sport for the athlete, for the fan, for the globe. Moments shared create the buzz. From football